precious environment. And it's been so incredibly difficult for farming for so long. You've had to face rising energy bills, rising fertilizer bills, feed bills. Then you've had the botched transition to the basic payment scheme. Then you've had trade deals that prevent you from selling your produce into Europe but allow Australian, New Zealand farmers to undercut you here. And that's all before some of the worst weather and flooding in generations. You have had it hard, and this government doesn't seem to realise that. I've heard this from farmers across the country. You're fed up and you've been taken for granted for far too long. You thought the last government would look after you, and I'm afraid they didn't. And many farmers voted for change. But you found you've got a government that just isn't listening to you. And that is so wrong. If they understood you, if they understood what you do and how important you are to our economy, our society, our food security, they wouldn't be imposing this outrageous, unfair family far tax. They say, well, farms are worth a lot, but they're only worth a lot on paper. When you add in all the costs you have to pay, there are many farmers who aren't even earning the minimum wage. Now, you are feeding our families and you're struggling to feed your own. That is just so wrong. And this family farm tax, if it goes through, is not just cruel, but it's stupid. It's stupid. Who is going to buy your farms? It'll be the private equity guys, the big corporates. It won't be the young farmers, will it? And they don't get it. For years, DEFRA and the market have been pushing family farms to become bigger and bigger just to remain viable, just so you could afford the investment. And then Treasury turns around, this new government turns around and says it's going to tax you. That is just so wrong. And I'm afraid the future looks even tougher. If they go ahead not just with this tax rise, but removing the support, they're proposing now to cut the basic payment by 76% next year, slashing payments, putting up taxes, all when you've already had a hard time. They just don't get it. And you know, they are coming after you when they're leaving those organised people who actually could afford to pay in the budget. You know, there are some sectors making huge profits, the social media giants, the online gambling firms, some of the big banks. They're making profits that are eye-watering, which you would just dream of. But they've left them alone and they've come after you. They just don't get it. And they don't seem to realise that if farmers can't make the sums add up, there won't be food on our tables. They'll be closing down and selling up. And who's going to look after the countryside then? We must get ministers to understand. We must get ministers to listen. You're doing a fantastic job today. And I can tell you that all 72 Liberal Democrat MPs will be pushing this government, not just today, but every day, until they listen, until they understand. We are going to fight for our rural communities. We're going to fight for support for farmers. We're going to fight to stop this family farm tax. I have just one ask of you. I want you to continue to do what you are the best in the world at doing, producing high quality food for our country. You've been disincentivized for far too long to do what you are the best at. So please keep doing it, and we will stand by you every step of the way. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Ed Davey. Big cheer for Ed Davey. Brilliant. Yeah. Thank you. How is everybody? So now we've got Kemi Beijinok. She's the new leader of the Conservative Party. Now, as I said, you need every single MP's up in Parliament to make sure that Finance Act doesn't get signed off. So please, give Kemi and Victoria Atkins the loudest cheer you've got.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to start off with a simple message. This policy is cruel, it is unfair, and it is going to destroy farming as we know it. And that is why we will, at the very first opportunity, reverse the family farms tax. I have here with me Victoria Atkins and Robbie Moore. They are the shadow ministers who are watching what the Department for the Environment, Farming and Rural Affairs is doing. They're watching the Treasury. We are the team that are working for you. We know the burden that farmers are carrying. A lot of people think that farming is just a business. It is not just a business. It is a way of life. It is about family. It is about the land. It is about the environment. It is about our food. We cannot survive without you. I want you to know that we have your backs. We are all, and Neil is here too, Neil Hudson. We are all MPs who have rural constituents. We cover the rural communities. We know what farming is like. We understand that you have no certainty. We know that bad weather, a bad harvest could put you out of business. We know that you are buffeted every day by what happens all around the world. We know that you need protection. We understand that you have been doing this all your lives, that without you, we cannot eat. We understand the burden that farmers carry, not just for yourselves, but for the whole country. We understand how difficult it is when you're negotiating with supermarkets. We understand how difficult it is when you're looking at prices for fertilizer. We know what you are dealing with, and that is why we know how this tax will destroy your way of life. And that is why we are going to reverse it. But I want you all, thank you, I want you all to know this, that farming in this country is absolutely critical for growth. And it is also about the hope that we give to young people. I have a lot of young farmers in my constituency. Victoria, Robbie and Neil do too. We speak to them and they are worried. They don't want to have to pay inheritance tax and be paying off to the Treasury for 20, 30 years before they even start making a profit. They will leave farming, and if we don't have a next generation, there will be no future. So I want to say to all the young farmers out there, to all the young people out there, we are going to look after you. We are going to make sure that you have a future. We are doing this for you. It is not about us. This is about you. This is about making sure that your way of life continues, that our way of life continues. Farming is the backbone of this country. Without it, we cannot survive. We know that we haven't always got it right, but this policy is so obviously unfair, so obviously cruel. We will do everything we can to make sure that in a few years' time, if they do not U-turn now, we will reverse this tax. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Kemi. Big cheer for Kemi Beijinok.
Leader of the Tory party there. Wow. Fair play to her turning out, man.
Now, I've heard a rumour that there's a man called Jeremy Clarkson, someone around here.
Here we go.
Now, as we know, Jeremy's a bit of a shy man. Doesn't like the public gaze, doesn't like public speaking. We don't know if he's going to make it on the stage, so could we all give him a big cheer to make sure he does make it onto the stage? Everybody cheer! Right, while we wait for Jeremy to make himself available, I'm now going to have one last speaker. He's called Steve Perez. He is a farmer. He is also a hotelier. And his business is going to be hit hard by this tax. So let's have a big cheer for Steve.
Yeah, like most of you there, I'm also a businessman. I built a successful business out of the back of the van, and I employ 400 people. Family farms, family businesses, we are all in this together. Family firms employ 4.8 million people in this. 4.8 million family firms, and 13 million people are employed in family firms. I've just heard the politicians up talking about what we're going to do. What we must do, what you must ask the politicians is, we can't just accept we'll reverse APR. We have to think about BPR as well, because that is the thing they're not talking about. So please speak to your politicians and say, will you reverse? Will you pay back any money that we have to pay out? Give it us back, and that will give us security for the future. Our business, like farms, we can't just sell 20 bedrooms out of one of the hotels. We can't have 20% of our factory cut off. I saw today that the business minister, Jonathan Reynolds, is in India. He's getting a curry and a suntan. He's talking about trading with Russian-loving Indian billionaires. Right? And you know what they're going to do? They're going to buy our businesses, they're going to buy our farms. And they won't pay inheritance tax, and they won't pay capital gains tax. And that is the plan. We have to make sure that we keep our businesses. We borrow our businesses from our children. We have to think about their future. This is a fight we cannot lose. It is for our existence, for the existence of our families, our farms, and our firms. And we have to, after today, there's going to be a lot of press, but we must keep this fight on. We must not be yesterday's news.
It's on. You can do better than that. Right, so apparently we're all overreacting and we should have got some legal advice. Who's spoken to their accountant and who's spoken to this staff and realised how bad this budget is? Put your hands up higher. Yeah, so it's not our overreaction. We really are getting dropped from a great height here. We've got someone coming on stage in a second. He's just trying to get through the crowd now. He's got a few words, but remember, what we were going to do, we were all going to turn around and we were all going to march that way and we were all going to march back, and then we were going to do a little bit more on the stage. But there's just too many others, there's just too many numbers. We've got one speaker that we're trying to get through that crowd, so if you see a lady in a hurry, that let her through. What we will do though is, we've got, we hope, about 50 pedal tractors down there and about 50, 60, 80 children. We need that photograph. They are the future. So we will, in a bit, all turn round, but don't move. You all weigh a lot. Some more than
Não era preciso, caralho. Agora vim fazer como o David, devolver o dinheiro outra vez.
Who thinks they've travelled the furthest? Who's from the top of Scotland? How did you get to the front? Who's actually just come from London?
West Ham!
West Ham.
Hey!
Who actually
E também já tenho a tua morada.
care about where their food comes from? Quite a few actually. They're all at the front as well.
What's that?
Who's come over from Ireland? One. We know there's more of you because we saw the registrations. Come on then, who's come over from Ireland? Oh, there's a few more over there.
So, Ollie, Jeremy's nearby. Now he's having a trouble getting through the crowds out the back. So can we have one more cheer to speed his way to the stage? Are we ready? Shout out for Jeremy! Come on, Jeremy.
He's a bit steady these days.
Come on, Jezza.
Does anyone know where Tom Rees is? I have a feeling he might be down there with pedal tractors, because we could do with the keys for the scissor lift. If you can hear me down there, Tom, get yourself to the scissor lift.
Right. Now, Jeremy, I hope you don't mind me saying this. Jeremy's had a bit of a bad back recently, so it has actually been a serious deal for him to get here today. Now, remember how loudly you cheered when we were trying to get number 11 to know you were here. I know you've got some horns out there. 1, 2, 3, cheer!
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Emily. Thanks, Ollie. Hello, everybody. You're right, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be talking. But we've got a few things to say, and I'm going to start with a bit of honesty. In London 25, 30 years, and when I was here, like a lot of people who live in cities and go on Twitter, I thought farmers drove around in Range Rovers, moaning, until February, and then all went skiing. And then about 5 years ago, I started farming. And I've come to understand just how unbelievably difficult it is, and complicated, and dangerous, and cold. Very cold. Even when the harvesting, it's cold. And it's just the forest of costs that staggered me. £200,000. Somebody needs to turn their mics off. £200,000.
We need a medic.
Medic.
We need a medic to the right.
Have a medic over to
by the building.
Building doesn't narrow it down, Ollie. I'm going to say
to the right of the stage.
To the north of the stage. Okay, so as we all know, everyone down there, you know a tractor. £200,000 for a medium-sized one. A combine, £500,000. All the equipment costs a fortune. And if you try to price what you're selling to accommodate that, there's just a lot of money. You get people saying, well, I shouldn't pay that. I can get a chicken from abroad. Yeah, you can. It's so full of chlorine, it tastes like a swimming pool with a beak. And then you've got the environmentalists endlessly shouting at you, oh, your cows, they're altering the composition of the gases in the upper atmosphere, and your fertilizers ruining the trouty freshness of our streams and rivers. And I know sometimes you just think, well, what's the point? We're just trying to make breakfast, lunch and dinner, and it's just this endless whinging and there's no money in it. And the regulations. Some of you down there will know what I'm on about when I say we got a lot of GS4 this year on the farm. And we were told, oh, the sheep will love that. No, they don't. They're standing looking at it in the same way that a 5-year-old looks at an olive. They don't want to eat it. And so we have all of this complication and all of this cost. And there's very, very little money in it. Very little money, as you know. And then we got the budget. Now, I know a lot of people all across the country in all walks of life took a bit of a kick on the shin with that budget. You lot got a knee in the nuts and a light hammer blow to the back of the head. Because we had pickup trucks, double cab pickup trucks, being reclassified as company cars. 211% tax rise there. £50 carbon tax on a bag of fertiliser. The basic farm payments altered in such a way that we're getting a lot less than we thought we were going to get. And then there was the inheritance tax business. Honestly, I don't know where to start. I know you've heard a lot about it today, and I'm not going to dwell on that. I'll just say this. Rachel Reeves has told us, what is it, 72% of farms are going to be unaffected by this. I've just been interviewed by Victoria Derbyshire from Newsnight. Let's see if we can educate her here, if she's still around, Victoria. How many people here, if you'd raise your hands, are from a family farm? I want to see, right. I hope we can see that. I hope we've got our cameras from the show up high to see. That's a lot of hands. Now, keep them up, and I want you to lower them if you think, and you've had time to work this out, you think you're going to be unaffected by the changes to APR and BPR. Put your hands down if you're going to be unaffected. Thank you. My case rests. I want you to see that. She was trotting out. Nobody's affected. Rachel Reeves says so. Since when has the BBC the mouthpiece of this infernal government? I've got to get the brakes on. The trouble is I'm off my tits on codeine and paracetamol up here. I don't know what I'm saying. But I do want to finish, if I may, with a message to the government. I do. Not a shouting one, it's this. For the sake of everybody here, and for all the farmers who are stuck at home today, paralysed by a fog of despair over what's been foisted upon them, I beg of the government to be big, to accept that this was rushed through, it wasn't thought out, and it's a mistake. That's the big thing to do, admit it, and back down. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. All right, everybody, Ollie's just asked me to ask you if you could all turn around now, because we'd like to get a photograph of the size of this protest. The camera's somewhere down near the cenotaph there. Hold up your placards, hold up your banners. Let's get a picture of this. And thank you once again, everybody. And thank you, Ollie. And thank you, Emily. And thank you, everybody, who's put this amazing thing together at very short notice.
Thank you, Jeremy, as well. And also, last night at the Peppa Pig Awards, he won an award. So I think you should all give a round of applause for that as well. Right, the next speaker is called Laurie. She, I think, is from the Dovecote Park, which is the biggest independent beef. I'll let you do it yourself, Laurie.
Thank you very much. I've been told I'm not allowed to incite violence, but how the effing hell do I stand here and follow that chap? He has done more for the British agriculture in the last 5 years than any individual, any trade body, anybody. So, first of all, thank you to Mr. Clarkson. Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And I apologise that I am late. I have had hell coming down from North Derbyshire. A bit of snow didn't stop us, but the effing trains did. We've had 3 trains cancelled. I've just gone arse over tits in Euston Station in front of everybody.
I have no idea, Tracy.
To get here.
I'm just showing it, that's all.
But we're here. So, I feel a little bit like I'm at Young Farmers with my stock judging notes. I've been scribbling things frantically on the train. And I must apologise, I am not a professional speaker. I am not a politician, but I am 100% through and through a British farmer. And I am part of this fantastic British food business. All of our family are involved in agriculture. My brother and sister, myself, we are 8th generation farmers on a family farm in North Derbyshire in the Peak District. A suckler and sheep livestock farm with our parents. And like all of you here today, we are enormously concerned. Will there be a future for any generation? As I put my wellies on this morning, I very fondly thought of some great memories that me and my wellies have had. Usually 3 o'clock in the morning in a pair of pyjamas, stood out in the pissing rain, doing a cesarean on a cow, hurtling a barbed wire fence trying to turn a cash stew over, or collecting young stock off the village cricket field. We've all been there, we all do it. Today, however, when I put my wellies on, I realised quite humbly and seriously, this is the most important outing that we've ever had together. Farmers currently own 71% of the British countryside and have, over many years, carved this beautiful patchwork of arable, grassland and moorlands to provide a plethora of great British food to feed our nation. Without this land, farmers quite simply cannot do this. The Labour think we are all wealthy land agents. Well, we're not. We're humble, very hard-working, at times below minimum wage, family farms. And today I can see amongst you not only farmers, but the tremendous support from other businesses. There's vets, I can see feed merchants, machinery dealers, livestock auctioneers, and like myself, a food manufacturer. Food and drink is worth 148 billion to the UK economy. It is the largest in terms of employment and economics. Farmers have also recently been voted in a very slim number 2 position to nurses as the most trusted profession. That must tell us something. We are part and vitally part of a community together. My parents, both 76, are full-time farmers and work incredible hours. My day job is to work for the family-owned British business called Dovecote Park. We are the biggest independent beef and venison processor in the UK. And like many of our customers, we are 100% committed to buying British beef. We have no plan B. Without you farmers, we have nothing. We employ over 1,000 people, and we are serviced by hundreds of amazing British farmers. Importing beef is not an option. Globally, there is nowhere close to the standards our farmers produce meat. I've travelled the world, I've tried it. It is the best. Your standards on farm are second to none. The food safety, the provenance, the traceability, and most importantly, for me and our customers, our animal welfare standards are second to none. However, we are enormously concerned by food security. The changes to the IHT and the budget are putting UK food production at significant risk. We're already seeing numbers tightening due to farmers reducing livestock numbers to enter into environmental schemes, diversification into tourism, or simply having to reduce numbers due to the mental and economic pressure and the devastation caused by TB. We don't blame you for not restocking. As an industry, we need 2 million cattle a year to service our customers. Currently, there are only 1.98 million available. That must tell you something. We are running out of time to reverse this. The UK, as we all know, is cited to produce beef and lamb, We have fantastic grasslands and natural sustainable resource. Not only can we produce beef and lamb, but all agricultural products. They are the best. Our customers want British products. We service Aldi UK with British Wagyu. We service Burger King, so please go and get yourself a Whopper for your lunch. If you want the best steak in the UK, go to Hawksmoor. And overall, our biggest customer and the most dedicated to British agriculture is Waitrose. For 40 years, they've stood by with a fair and transparent British agricultural policy for 100% British meat, poultry, eggs and dairy. Today we stand together and we encourage the government to rethink these decisions, not just IHT, but first and foremost, to feed our nation. We are the backbone of this nation and we need to keep producing sensibly the best products in the world. Thank you.
Right again. Right, you've got wet enough, so I'll keep this short. Just about a week ago, I sent a WhatsApp message to 3 farming friends. Who knew this would be where it went? Even more surprising to me, if you told me 2 weeks ago that I'd be stood outside Downing Street about to introduce this next speaker. Sorry. I shout louder. Hey, this isn't easy. If you told me 2 weeks ago I'd be stood outside Downing Street with tens of thousands of farmers in front of me that we'd arranged to be here, and I'd be announcing this next speaker, I'd be amazed. So I'm not going to do it. I'm going to leave it to Henry, because today and his generation is who this is all about. So, Henry, who's the next speaker?
Tom Bradshaw.
Thank you very much, everybody, and what an incredible sight this is. I hope that Sir Keir Starmer is looking on from wherever his plane is, and Rachel Reeves can look on and hear what you've all been saying. Our industry, farming, the best and most important industry in this country. Yes. It's never stronger than when we speak with one voice. Can I thank the organisers of today's rally, Clive, Ollie, Martin, Wardy and James. Can I thank all of you for braving the weather? We never had any doubts that you'd be here. This budget has cut deep, and I think today you can see what this means to the farming industry right the way across the United Kingdom. And I'm proud to be standing here shoulder to shoulder with you, with the other presidents of the farming unions. My message to government today is clear. When you make a promise to farmers, you keep it. I'm the 4th generation of my family farm with the 5th generation at home. Like so many of you, when I went back to farm, my parents couldn't afford to retire from the farm. They're still in partnership with me today, some 20 years later. I've worked with multiple generations of my farm, just my family, just like many of you out there today have. These multi-generational businesses are special. We can't afford for this government to take us for granted and not respect what we do. Today isn't about left or right. It's about right and wrong. It's about policy, not politics. And this policy is simply wrong. So let's call this disastrous policy out for what it is. It's betrayal. It's betrayal based on questionable facts. I've met the Secretary of State. I've sat down with Treasury ministers. I've looked them in the eye again and again, and yet they continue to double down, and they don't believe the impacts this will have on you, your farms, your family, your future. Every penny the Chancellor saves from this tax will come directly from the next generation, having to break up their family farms. Are you proud of that, Chancellor? Across the country, tenant farmers are having sleepless nights. They worry the land will be sold from beneath their feet. That's not a future that anybody can invest in. This policy has far-reaching impacts. It stops you investing in your farms for the future. It cuts off the ability to deliver the food security message that the Prime Minister said is so important. But most importantly, the human impact of this policy is simply unacceptable. Generations that have worked their socks off to produce the food for this country have been cut off at the knees. They have no ability to plan their way through this. Octogenarians and older that have worked their lifetime producing food for the country have had a bitter, bitter blow. The human impact of this policy is simply unacceptable. The Chancellor says, invest, invest, invest. How many of you have got the confidence to invest in your farms for the future? We know many of you are putting off investments that would deliver the food security they all talk about. They've broken a promise. Steve Rejo said they wouldn't.
Sorry, I don't know. That's not me. That's matey. Let me have a look. That was good then. As I said, that woman should be on the side of the stage still. Hopefully. Yes.
Pay the fertiliser tax, the dramatic cuts to BPS, the double cap pickup tax, the inflationary pressures from the supply chain caused by the national living wage and the national insurance, damaging budget for food production, and it will drive up inflation at the shelves. Because you lot have nothing left to give. You've been bled dry over years, and they must sort this out. For those of you looking on from afar, that are looking at the farming industry, thinking, how can you try and justify this tax? Those of you that may be struggling to afford the daily shop, we don't want to be here. All we want to do is produce your food. The budget is causing inflationary pressure. It's going to mean retail shelf prices need to go.
Sorry, he's back. He's back. Back and it's a better picture.
But this isn't just about APR and PPR. They are the straw that broke the camel's back. We've had the fertiliser tax, the dramatic cuts to BPS, the double cab pickup tax, the inflationary pressures from the supply chain caused by the national living wage and the national insurance. This is a damaging budget for food production, and it will drive up inflation at the shelves. Because you lot have nothing left to give. You've been bled dry over years, and they must sort this out. For those of you looking on from afar, that are looking at the farming industry, thinking, how can you try and justify this tax? Those of you that may be struggling to afford the daily shop, we don't want to be here. All we want to do is produce your food. The budget is causing inflationary pressure. It's going to mean retail shelves prices need to go up. It's not us that's doing that. The APR and the PPR change will create more volatility in the supply chain. It doesn't in any way help you. We want to feed you. We want to do it profitably. And I don't think anyone in this audience will have a problem paying any more tax if we make that tax from producing the country's food. But if that tax comes from untimely death or from the elderly, that is simply unacceptable.
That's all right.
No, you're not blocked, Alexis.
Before I wrap this up, I just want to give you 2 jobs. The first, excuse me.
What about the farmers from Scotland that were paid today?
Excuse me, can we just, right, can I give you 2 jobs, please? Right, can we give you 2 jobs, please? First of all, we know the pressure this is putting on the farming industry. The mental health toll on our industry was already at record levels. I am seriously concerned, as many of you are here, about the impact that this has. It's very far-reaching. When you're back on your farms tomorrow, pick up the phone to a friend, a neighbour, somebody that you haven't seen for a while, or that was a bit below par last time you saw them. Have a yarn, make sure they're okay. And secondly, please do write to your MP. You may laugh at me, but they are elected to represent you. They must have heard today the impact that this will have on you, your farms, your future, your family. We are fighting for you every single day. You won't give up. We won't give up. The government must change course. They've simply got this policy wrong, and every meeting I go in, whether you're an NFU member or not, I carry you into that room with me, and we will do our best to fight this awful policy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. Now, the press tried to make it look like there was a divide between us and the NFU. There isn't, because when we all go back to our day jobs, we need these guys behind us. We need them pushing and pushing and pushing. There is no divide. This tax affects every single one of us. When you leave in a bit, I promise we're near the end, I want to make sure that there's not an ounce of litter. We do not want to see a picture in the press that we've dropped litter and we've littered London. So if you see something on the floor, pick it up. We are gutted that we can't march, but it just simply is not safe. There is far too many of us. So at the end, if you're near the stage or past this fast track, try and disperse that way. If you're by that alleyway, go between them buildings to the riverbank. If you're at the far end, go that way. We don't want everyone going direction because this crowd is huge. Once again, can we have the biggest cheer ever for the Met Police for making this safe? We started with a team of 5, but there's hundreds that have made this happen. Whether it's the speaker systems, getting the tractors here, the pedal tractors, the stewards, and you guys. We want a massive round of applause for everyone that's started this and made it happen. Come on. You're all very cold and wet. I'm sorry for that, but we're hardy. We're used to it. We'd like to think that it ends here, but I fear this might be only just the beginning. But we're going to stick together and we're going to fight this. Once again, thanks to everyone behind us. I remember that we're fighting for our children. We're fighting for our grandchildren. And we will not be beaten. Thank you. And one last thing as well, I forgot, the Ulster Farmers Union are also here representing us. And Scotland! United Kingdom is here. If anyone piles in the red line, I believe Tom Bradshaw's buying the round. Once again, pat yourselves on the back, look after each other as you move. Don't all try and disappear at once. Take some pictures, go and find somewhere warm to eat something, and safe journey home. Thank you.
Thank you, Billy Bob. Thank you, everyone who enjoyed the stream. I'll keep running for another half hour. Hope you all like that.
Fair play to this guy. I'm using his footage.
Luckily, I got the number 1 spot.
He did. He really did. I'll share his channel. Fair play to him. Name's John. It's good YouTube now, isn't it? John, what's your name? John! John! I'm trying to find another stream because there's more going on down the road, like a march and that. But I was able to find that. Let me just drop this in there for you in case anybody wants it. You should subscribe to John because he's actually out there doing something rather than sitting here like me or holding like you at home. Yeah.
Really, not to hypnopause. I'm not there because I can.
Go on, mates. No, it's raining now.
Cheers, Kev Cronin, thank you. Yeah, we're sucking. We've got
That's done.
best spot, really. That one's done. That one be done. Yeah. Stood here in the wet for you. I hope you all enjoyed it. Look how wet. I've got to go and buy a new jacket down there. Without me. Thank you, truly. Patrick. Come on, man. Just don't argue. It's just a pointless exercise. Come on, the fire. Yeah, it's such pointing at me. I'm saying hello to all the viewers and all that.
Oh, good.
Come on, the fire. Come on. And catch the worm, man. Just in time. Yeah. Wow.
All dispersing now, all dispersing.
Hey, Mike West, hello, mate. Here, the numbers, man, it's absolutely pissing down.
Right, listen, have you shown me the crash?
Yeah, I've shown it.
Unbelievable, mate. There's fucking thousands. Hello, everyone in the room.
Yeah, boy.
Oh, Jeremy Clarkson is funny as fuck.
Yeah, Sky and Jill, hello. Very well tonight. Andy Bill Shaw. Cup of coffee and a sandwich.
I get a sandwich. They were just dispersing now, they go. We've got quite a lot of vegetable farmers around by us. Onions we have. It smells oniony.
I'm going to
Potatoes, get a lot of potatoes.
pick that up.
And if they have overspill, they leave them out on the side of the road to be cranked. It's the farmers and that actually that outdo all that, all the poppies and that. They've been out the last few days putting the Christmas lights decorations up. Farmers do all that as well around here.
Cheers, mate.
Well, that's it then. I ain't going to fuck off for a bit. I ain't got fuck all else to do, you know what I mean? But I ain't going to sit here all afternoon. Blimey, I ain't got sit here doing that. It's cool here. You get quite a lot here, really.
You're a fucking dope. Nobody's saving us. Clarks and Elon or Trump.
You're fucking I'm at the old trip mode, the bus pulls over and he fucks up and I'm like, what the fuck? So black cab pulls over, I weigh him down, I jump in, I'm having a chat with him, he took me all the way up and I think, he goes, I'm down here anyway. He goes, jump in, I go, how much, mate? On take 10, he went, no, nothing.
Nothing, mate, nothing. All right, no, then that's it about it, really, isn't it? Sit here, fucking, you know. Here, look. He's got some. So have a look at it. He keeps buffering now. That's the problem. He keeps coming on buffering all the time. Everyone's buffering at the minute. There's people that go out their way to go out and get this stuff on film. I'm not just sit here and moan about it. Bastard! They're dispersing. Chrissy's on. Right now.
Here you go.
Carlos is restreaming. Are you doing the farmer's thing as well, Carlos? Right, what's that one there? Look at that one. That one looks promising.
Yeah, you see, the share number 10, the share the world is going to look forward, the share Bill Gates, and we got a bit of a boo for these bastards.
Boo, doing that. Boo, what
They're
we're
not
doing.
just as farmers, but as people, we stand together. Who cares? They call us far right, they call us racist, they call us, we've had anti-vaxxer, we've had all sorts of horrible labels put our way, and we just question mainstream narratives. But instead, we don't care because we're still here. We're still fighting. We're still standing for our rights. Because they can't win. And they keep trying. And they keep trying to shame us. They keep trying to reduce us into small, insignificant people. But the sad reality is, we are. And together, we have an immense amount of power and unity. Look at this. It's beautiful. Would you like me to go again? I don't mind. No, I don't mind. That's all right, I've got great voice.
This is actual coverage.
No farmers! 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 No farmers!
Farmers. Farmers. It's not me, it isn't ours. He does like saying, he did say, oh, I'll carry on talking. He does like something else. Still going, still going. Change it up a little bit.
No farmers! No, no! No farmers! No farmers! No farmers! No farmers!
Recommendations, mate? Oh, shit, I didn't recommend anything. What did I recommend then? Mac, lads? Shit, I don't remember doing that. You know, it weren't my fault. It probably wasn't me. It was Dave, one of the other Daves. Still going. Did I recommend something? Shit. Did I recommend the sandwich girl? Did I recommend the sandwich girl? She's good. Make a sandwich? Yes, you can. I need some finished tabs. Got to go Poundland.
No farmers! No farmers!
The dishwasher.
No farmers!
I've been going on for ages, haven't I? I recommend coffee and a smoke. What now, you mean?
No farmers! No farmers! No farmers! No farmers!
Find somebody else. Louder, you bastards! Louder! They're all just loitering. I recommend that, did I? don't recommend, you know what I recommend?
Okay, I'm gonna end up
Britain's most
for the
banned
moment.
band.
I'll be right back. Bye bye. See you soon.
Haha, was it? I don't know, maybe it was. What do you reckon? I'm welcome to